Good afternoon,
Good
everybody.
afternoon, sir.
Trust your week was fine.
Yes, sir, yours.
Good, good. While we are waiting for others, can I ask if anybody has any challenge with what we discussed last week, or any area that we can do a quick revision on before we move on to today's topic? Any challenge, any formula that didn't work and you want us to look at it together? Am I taking the silence as we are fine? Hello?
We will be fine.
We will be fine.
We will be fine. Yes. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Okay, says we will be fine. I think I can give us.
Okay, sir. There's just one part. There's the part that I would like to get very well. You know, after breaking the pivot table to show the data in months, we did something that showed like a graph beside each line. I don't know if you can just run that again.
We did something like a graph beside each line. Which of the worksheets are you referring to?
So that kind of like showed us like a trend. It was showing us like a trend, you know, beside each of the, on the data table, each row now had like trend lines beside them, showing us what was happening from January to, say, the December, and then letting us know which month had the higher and all that, rather than just looking at the numbers.
Okay. Let me try and open my Excel worksheets. I don't know which of the worksheets, in which of the worksheet we had that thing we are talking about. I like it when people bring challenges. And as a matter of fact, when they teach you something in Excel, when you have to practicalize it, when you face real life problems, there are some funny things that happen. Can you imagine if you want to arrange data according to dates, and you realize that the dates they use, there's a difference between British way of writing dates and the American way of writing dates. The British will write day, month, year. The American will write month, day, year. If you mistakenly combine them together, or you mistakenly format a particular date structure wrongly, that might be, don't let me say that might be the end of one's interest in Excel, because it will be so frustrating. So that is the reason we need to practice Excel, because they won't teach you those things when they are teaching you that Excel may mess you up in so and so way. It is when you get there that you start experiencing those funny things happening. So I'm trying to, or maybe can you share your screen? Let me see if you practice where you had the challenge you are talking about. Will you be able to share your screen? Hello? Hello? Who had the challenge?
Yes,
yes.
It's me, Akemi. Unfortunately, I can't share my screen at the moment. Sorry. I'm joining from my mobile phone so that I don't miss this class.
Okay, you are not available in an area where you can.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, I'm trying to see how I can work around it. Okay, apart from that, I'll come to that. I'll try to do a quick recap of that one. Does any other person have any similar, any other challenge? Say it now, that as they used to say at
Okay.
some.
Hello, thank you, sir. Yes, I just noticed when you did this slicer, right?
Yes,
I
sir.
don't know how you are able to make it horizontal, right? You know, it was the normal stuff is like it's particle, but somehow you're able to put it horizontal. Because after the section and I tried it, I couldn't place it horizontal. Okay, you can just help on that. Thank you.
Are you able to share your own screen?
My screen light.
Yes.
Okay. Let me see. Okay. Just a moment.
No problem.
So which of the worksheets, which of them is it normalized data of flats?
I thought you said you tried to practice it. It didn't
Okay,
work.
mine. Okay.
Yes. Just show where you had the challenge, and I will take it up from there.
Okay.
I don't know why my normalized data sheet is not opening. That's why it's.
Okay. So here we have this dashboard, this slicer. You know, it's horizontal now.
Uh-huh.
So how are you able to make it?
Okay, good. Go to the menu. You see slicer, one of the menu items to
This
your
one?
right. Yes.
Yes.
Go to columns to your right, slightly to
I
your
want
right.
to move this level. Okay, I should go to column.
Column. No, to your right, Oh, ahead. On that slicer, you go up. You see columns on your left. Exactly. Increase it. Yes, press the button. Aha, that's it.
Yeah.
So you cannot adjust the shape, and that's it. That was how I did it. So when you are doing your dashboard, you want the slicer to fit in a particular position you have designated for it. You can decide to adjust things like this, and it will work for you. I think it's better I ask you to share your screen, so I wouldn't be the one. So when you want to adjust, if you want to fit it directly on top like that, you can just go to column 2, row 2. Go to row 2. Just go to row 2. No, row 2 on your screen, on your worksheet. Yes, row 2, not column B. Row 2. You can increase the width of that.
Okay.
Exactly. So you can now put this thing back in place. So to fit perfectly, and that is one of the things we look at when we are talking about dashboarding, how to arrange your stuffs. It may be a bit, well, I think I'll just have to summarize. Yes. And as it is now, if you want to lock your screen, you can lock, so that thing will not be scrolling up and down all over the place. You know how to lock?
I just did that now. I just did my freeze it. I freeze that panel.
You can freeze that, exactly. You can freeze top rows or upper or something beyond that one, and then the screen will be good. You don't have to
Thank you, sir.
All right, good. Okay, I think we have waited for enough people. So without wasting time, I would like to kick off. There was something I was supposed to take us last week, which skipped my mind. There's something called data validation. I don't know if we have heard about it before. Today we are going to Power Query proper. So there's something called data validation. Meanwhile, as usual, let me share our worksheets. Fortunately, my sister wants to behave fun. So, village people, like my guy used to say. Let me close all my Excel files. I think that's to resolve all the issues. Let me close all my Excel files. To resolve all the issues. Okay, so I want to do something they call data validation. Talk about it briefly before we go fully into Power Query. Or maybe I should ask, most of us have had Power Query before or used it before. Power Query, have you used it before? Have you handled it before? Hello? Hello?
Hi, sir. We are here.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Has anybody used Power Query before?
Well, I've heard about
I've
it
used
before, but I haven't used it before.
You've heard about it. Good.
Yeah, but I haven't used it.
Okay.
So Power Query and Power BI are the same thing.
Okay, very interesting. Last week we did something we call Power Pivots. Remember? So when they say power, don't think it must be something that is so powerful that you can't comprehend. That is what we worked on. When you are able to use pivot table to combine data from different from different tables, different worksheets, or from even different workbooks. Some of them might not even be open, and you can work with them together. That is Power Pivots. We use it to analyze your data. So, as I said, we are going to Power Query today. But before then, I want to quickly make us look at something they call data validation. I'm sharing my screen now.
I can't see the screen from here.
I'm sharing. I am sharing.
Can another person see? Okay.
Can you see now? Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I will quickly simply write the names of some people here. Yodon, Chinoye, Akinfunmi, Akinyemi, and who again? Joshua Obi, Joshua. Obi. Good. Now, these are names of people. One thing data validation does is if you want to create a system for collecting data and you ask people to type their names, somebody or to type in some things like figures, or let's say type the name of your car, the type of car you are riding, or type the kind of dress you are wearing. It is possible for you to get variants. There might be variants. Even this Biodun as we have here, somebody may write Abiodun. You actually want to analyze based on Biodun. Or it is possible for the person to write Biodun today. My resumption time today is Biodun will write 7:30. Tomorrow, he will write Abiodun 8 o'clock. The day after, he might write Odun. And it is the same person. So if you now want to analyze your data, all those parameters would not be mapped to a singular person, thus making it difficult for you to analyze your data. That is where data validation comes in. Let me show you this data validation, how it works. Data here, I want you to insert name, arrival time or resumption time, closing time. Then you also pick dates. Dates. We have this record. We want everybody to be filling the template when they come to work and when they are leaving. So the people we have in our group who we expect to be filling this thing are these guys. We have how many? 6 of them. So as I said earlier, it's possible for somebody to write Biodun today 7:30. Okay, 7:30. And tomorrow to write Abiodun time 7:45. What am I doing? 7:45. And the same person will write Odun the day after, will write 7:55. These are all the same person. If you want to collate, do the pivots, or you want to analyze and say the average time for Biodun's resumption is what? This will be difficult because the system will see these guys as different persons. So you can put a constraint or a restriction from people typing in, free formatting, whatever they want to write. You can restrict it once you have the data somewhere or you have the names of employees on a particular worksheet. You can use that one to create something like a drop-down menu. And that is what data validation does. Data validation comes under data, or yes, it is under, where is it? Yes, it's data validation. Can we see it under data? Can we see where I picked?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you click on it. At times, Office 365 may be different from Office Microsoft Office 2019, 2016. There might be some slight variance. So even me, I'm still, so for me to be able to explain to you, but I wish you could have your system and you should be able to, if you have any challenge, let me know. But the main thing is that data validation is under data. Just click data menu. Then you look at it under one of the data tools, you see it here. Now, data validation, that's what I have picked. You want anybody that is filling this data here to be restricted to a particular list. Are you getting me? You want the person to be restricted to a particular list, so they won't be able to type anything anyhow. Now, for you to tell them the list, either you select some, go click something like this and select from the list that you have. See what I have done? I've selected the list of the items in a range, and then I can just click on OK. So if anybody wants to fill their come to the office and want to type, you can select from these things you see here, or you must type according to one of the names, the way exact way it was captured or it is expected to be captured. The system will allow you. But if you try to type Abiodun in this field, try to type Abiodun, the system will protest, say no, sorry. Can you see? So that is simply. Now, when you have it like that and you want to apply it onto the whole column, you can do something like this. You have applied it. So anybody who wants to use it subsequently, that data validation setting that you have will work on that particular column. Are we together? Another one I will do for you is that you can also use it for dates. You know, when we click on that data validation, it gave us options. You can pick on settings. Is it any value? No. You can pick, you can restrict what you want people to type there to be either whole number. So nobody will be able to type dot something something. If you want it to be decimal, strictly it will only allow decimal. It won't allow anybody to type maybe any, just like whole number, you'll be able to type alphabets. If it is a list, you receive them through a list. If it is you want to receive them to a particular length, what you are going to type there must not be more than, if you want people to type their account numbers, for example, it must not be more than 10 characters. So I was talking about dates. You can restrict dates here. You pick the start date and you pick the end date. One other thing is that it must be a date format. If you type anything that is not a date format, the system will not accept it from you. Are we getting that? I just want to use that one as a brief, quick introduction, quick explanation. It's just one of those things. We can't cover Excel. And I would like to recommend some of my favorite guys I follow on Excel. I know if you just go to YouTube, there are some guys there. Chandu is one of them, is an Indian. Then there is also one other person, Leela Garani. Leela Garani is one of my very good friends. Well, I call her my good friend. Everybody wonder how I'm able to have a virtual friend and speak so well about her like that. Well, Leela Garani, if you go to YouTube and type Leela Garani, she's such a very decent, easygoing, soft-spoken lady. But when she delivers, you will enjoy her. On YouTube, that is one of the favorite channels I switch to when I'm on YouTube. And Chandu is also a great guy. Chandu, I've been following Chandu for like about 10 years thereabouts. Such a great guy. So that's it about. That will take me back to okay, let me also introduce something on this stuff I did here. The way I introduce data validation, there are different ways you can use data validation. We can also type, let's say, wood, apple, mango, banana. So fruits, you can do it like, okay, yes. Let me introduce tables. We know we did tables the other time. Instead for me doing the drop down, the way I did it last time, if we use table, that's one of the beauty of tables. Tables will make life easy for you. Control T, remember? Then you can decide you don't want this filter button, you don't want this kind of color, the way it's looking. You can change it to any format. You can even make it plain. You don't want it to look like any, as if you did any formatting on it, but already it is a table. So fruits, you want to insert data validation for fruits. You can decide to do it this way and say lists, and you equal to apple, comma, mango, comma, banana. Okay. Can you see? It will give you option. That is hard coding. Hard coding. And because it is tables we are working with, system relatable. Yes, it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be. It doesn't. It's okay. All right, good. It's not supposed to require me to be increasing. Okay, now let me explain what I mean by table. You know that this thing ends here. We can pick Chinoyen here, 8:45. Sorry, Chinoyen, you don't resume 8:45 normally, Abby. So after we have finished picking this line, once we want to extend to the next line, the system will allow us to date January 14, 2023. Will allow us to, can you see this corner, these angles, this blue mark here? Can you see that it automatically came down by itself? I don't know.
Yes.
Yes,
So that's one thing about table. Once you use table for your work, the system automatically increases the number of rows as you add additional data to it, and it will automatically feed into maybe your pivot, your Power Query, and anything you are doing. So that is one of the advantages of using table. I would fill this one. I think for me, pick 8:20. I think for me like banana. What's wrong? Why did he not take banana?
Maybe it's your spelling.
The spelling.
Okay, what is the wrong with the spelling? Is it because I use capital B? It could be that bad.
Two A's.
Your banana up. Add 2 A's.
No, it's not 2 A's.
Up P4.
No, it's 1A. He
No,
used
it's 1A.
small
It's
letter.
just because of the capital. It's just because I
He
use
used
capital
small
stuff.
letter.
It's just because it's recognizing it according to case. So once you are through, you come to the next page here. You type the date of February 14, 2023. Can you see what has happened? That setting, that format will continue reflecting there. So I think that's a convenient place to stop with. You can also use table inside. If I convert this in, if I name it as a table, Control T, I can also use it as Control T. I name it as, Control Z, Control T. You don't have. It doesn't need. It has. It already has header. No. Control T. It already has header. That takes care of it. So I want to do names, members. I've named it like that. If you want to do data validation here, you can just pick your data. Hope I'm not overflogging this in. I'm not supposed to waste too much time on it. I can come to data here, list, and come to is equal to the name of that table. Remember what it is? Names, members. Is it members or what is it? Or member? Names, member. Can you see names, member? And no, now.
You didn't put the equals to, have you?
Okay, okay, that should be the reason. So I can edit it. Is equal to names member. Let me check the name of my. How do we check the names? The name we use.
Highlight the table. Maybe it will come out.
That is one of the options. Or you go to name. What do you call it? Name manager. You understand?
Okay.
Can you see? It's not names member, it's name members. Can you see the correct spelling? Name members. So I come to my data validation and correct it. Name members is equal to name members. What are we saying? What are we saying now? Name members. Yes, now.
The M is capital.
Capital M for members.
Yes.
Equal to.
Just wait. Why? Name members. No, that's not what I want. Is equal to should be in front.
You should read the error message.
Yes, I think it's small letter N.
That's not it. Okay, let me come back to that one. I can always come back to that later. Sorry for that. But what I want to tell you is it can refer, instead for you to select a range, it can actually recognize maybe I should put this in a bracket. I can't remember. It's quite a long time I use this thing. And I use it regular and I use it for a lot of things, but that's no problem. I can always come back to that. So I can always walk around it. So it's just to let you know that you can also refer to the name of a table, such that if later on you decide to increase the name of this table, you increase somebody, you had another name, like Ayobami just joined. Can you see it has increased? So when you want to click from the drop-down menu, the system will automatically recognize it. Everything will work together. And that is one of the things we are going to be talking about, data architecture. So while we are waiting, let me quickly share this, my worksheet with the class. I have, so anybody who wants to work along with us can simply work with us. And anybody who folder, I want to share intro to this stock exchange and proper data. Good. I'll be starting with proper data. What is a proper data set? Looking at, can you see my screen?
Yes.
A proper data set. Can somebody tell me the difference between this one and this one? What do you think? What do you think is the issue? They are supposed to be the same thing. But what is the problem?
Yeah,
what
blank cells.
Spaces.
One is clean data and the other is not clean.
One is clean data and the other one is not clean.
Yes.
So what issue are we likely to have as a result?
Well, it makes it difficult to analyze. You may not be able to work effectively with the table if it is not clean. The first table is not clean, the second one is clean.
All right, good. Thank you for that observation. Any other comments?
The spaces will truncate the analysis, and then the headers true.
Okay, good. In essence, one of them, this one on the right-hand side, is referred to as a proper data set. for you to work with data, for you to be able to copy data and put it into pivot table, for you to be able to reference it in another data, or for you to connect, find the mean, average, most common, do different statistical analysis on it. Data must be in this format we call proper data sets. And what are the attributes of proper data sets? Maybe I should give you as assignments, but I've written some of them here, but I would like you to also explore more on what a proper data set is about. The explanation I have here says that a proper data set is a table of data in the top. Okay, a proper data set is a table of data. In the top row, it has unique column headers. Unique column headers. That means you don't have year twice. You don't have product more than one. If you have another variant of that product, you should name it maybe product A, maybe product category or product subcategory. Do you understand my point? If you are trying to do a pivot table, in fact, you can experiment it. This is quantity. If you want to do the pivot table, if you try this thing, the way it is, I've removed one of the headers in this particular data set. If I try to convert it to a pivot table, it will not allow me. See something, and let us prove it wrong or not. Can you see what it's telling me? The pivot field name is not valid. It simply means that something is missing. The first time I had this issue, nobody told me that the data, something is missing in the data. But I suffered because I was like, my system is not doing pivot again. I don't understand this story is telling me. I was just looking confused. So, my people, putting your data in the right table, proper data set is what makes your table fit. And when you talk about data analysis, something they talk about cleaning and transformation of data, that takes more time than any other thing. For you to clean the data, to make it conform, to make sure that there is no missing rows, there is nobody put total in between. Can you see? If you put total in between here, the system, when it wants to find the average of all the figures here, there will be a great error because there will be some double counting on some figures and you won't get it right. Whereas some fields here are missing. So that is that about that. Then it also says there are no gaps or empty columns in between. Each column has a title, so it has a header. In addition, each column has a specific data type, so it's either a number, text, or dates. As you have here, you can see this one is 20. You can't afford to come and put, okay, this is 2019, this is a year. And can you see what we put here, total? If you want to put a header name, what header are you going to give to this particular row or column? You can't get it right. Then let us get back. You say we don't have columns with mixed data types. There are also no subtotals in the rows. So if we take a look, so we can take a look at this example. I've done that example. Then I will also give us a real life application of proper data sets. A proper data set is something like this. Can we see what we have here? These people, this is a KPI by division and the name of the app. You can see what we have here. We have productivity apps and we have different divisions. If you scroll down, you see game apps. You have different divisions under the game apps. This productivity app, the subtotal of all the divisions selling productivity apps, the subtotal is here, 162,634. And you can see it is, so this data is confusing. Another thing about it is, can you see the year, see the month, see another thing, they are using the actual revenue, actual profits, actual cash. it is possible for them to also come to another side and say budget revenue, budget profit, budget cash. So if they do that, and you have to analyze the data, can somebody try pivots on this set of data? How will you do it? The best way for you to have your pivots is to have your data, your value, or the figures only reflecting once, except when you have multiple variables. But even when you have multiple variables, there is a way you can simplify it so it will be easy for you. This thing we have here, we cannot convert it to, we cannot do pivot, we cannot analyze it easily. And this same set of data is what we have here. So what did they do differently? What can we do differently to analyze this thing easily? So introduction to Power Query. Power Query is actually a function in Excel that was introduced in 2016. If you have maybe something below 2016, if you are there, you may not see it under this data menu. But if you have from 2016 or 2019 upwards, you will see this thing on your left. When you come to data, you see get data. If it is below, you might see something like get and transform data. Get and transform data. That's what you are likely going to see. Now, what Power Query, the relation between Power Query and Power Pivot is that Power Query allows you to import data from different places. And then you can now bring the data import data from different sources and then convert it to a proper data set via some advanced transformation and formatting functionalities. After you have done that, you can now export it out of Power Query engine into the normal Excel. Then you can have Power Pivot to work on the data if you have a number of data sets. Then if you want to do some advanced presentations or dashboards, you can now engage Power BI. But as I said last week, Power Query is also a functionality inside Power BI. So if we can do this Excel Power Query now, you should be able to beat your chest that I know more than 50% of Power BI. So indirectly, we are not only doing Excel right now, we are doing some aspects of Power BI. Mind you, we are talking about advanced. If I'm too fast, please drag me back. You need to. We can't afford to be too slow because we have a lot to cover. Are we together?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Good. So I have sent some data to us. I think I'm missing something. There's something I didn't send. I'm supposed to send this one. I don't know. It is a bit heavy. Let me see if it will go. Because it will form part of the things I'll be using today. Form part of the things I'll be using today. So one thing about Power Query is that it helps you overcome the limitation of Excel. Excel normally restricts you to a certain number of rows, and as such, will prevent you from handling large data. What the things that happen is either your Excel crashes or it takes time to load. You see your system rolling, you click a button and it takes so long for the system to load. Can you imagine if you are handling the INEC data, the data for INEC, and for a population of about 200 million people, and you are uploading all those things. People with their ward, with their local government, with their constituency, their name, mother's name, father's surname, age, date of birth, nationality, state of origin, all those data, you have it in your Excel. Yeah. Without wasting time, I'm going to Power Query. I will open a fresh worksheet. I don't even need to open a fresh worksheet. I don't need to open a fresh worksheet. I'm thinking of an easier way to handle this thing. What can I do? Okay, let us play around with this thing. This data, it is unstructured. It is not normal. It is a problematic data. I don't know if I should give us this one to start with. It may give us some problems. Let me just play with something in Power Query. You can start from a fresh page, or you use the page you are already working on. So I will start on a fresh page. For you to use Power Query, come to data. Can we still see my screen? A fresh page. Hello?
I think it's blank.
It's coming up. It's blank.
Loading.
It's blank.
Yeah. Well, I think it's loading as blank.
You can you see my mouse, what I'm doing?
Can see your pointer. Something
Okay.
like that.
I
It's
just
blank.
typed something. You saw what I typed?
No.
Okay, something is wrong because it's showing me that I've moved away from the sharing, what I'm sharing. So let me go back. Let's see. See, my screen sharing is paused. So I will show you my old screen now. Anything I do, you should be able to see.
Can see it now.
Oh, good. So we have a fresh page. I want to insert something. For you to use Power Query, you come to Data and you click on Get Data. Get Data allows you to select information from anywhere, different sources. You can decide to get information from an Excel workbook, possibly the one you are working on. You can get it from a text file, text CSV, from an XML file, JSON, this one is JavaScript, PDF. You might be surprised. Something in PDF, you can bring it down into Excel, and the system will automatically arrange those things. Some data table, you see some pages in your PDF, wherever. From folder, when you mean I say folder, it is possible for you to have data, different data in different folder, in the same folder. Like you have a report, a certain report, which you generate for your business, your office, you have for different months, January to June, and you want to combine everything together. Instead for you to be thinking of, maybe I should also combine it, or maybe they should have prepared it on this. Don't worry, leave the data like that. Just pick the folder. The Power Query will automatically consolidate the information you want. You can bring data from SQL, from Microsoft. And mind you, these things we are doing, some of the things we are going to talk about here, it will form the basis or foundation or some topics that you will learn when you are looking at SQL, when you are looking at Python, when you are looking at R, and when you are looking at Power BI. So from Azure, Azure is a database stuff for Microsoft. They are in the same category with Amazon Web Services. The Power Platform, other sources. Now, these other sources is another very interesting. And as a matter of fact, I will start from these other sources to whet your appetite a little, or to make you believe in or create an unusual interest. Look at this thing, it's telling us that we can get information from web. Can you see? Get information from web. before I do that, let me do something. I've copied some websites that I want us to get information from. Once you are in Power Query mode, you won't be able to switch over to Excel. That is why I quickly came here to copy this thing before I go back to Power Query. It will allow me to copy. I copied, put those information in. So I'm picking from web. So it will ask me a question. Which website do you want to pick the information from? And before we go to that website, let us visit that website and look at the information that we are interested in. We are looking at a Nigerian Stock Exchange website. We want to look at Nigerian Stock Exchange website. Maybe work with it. Can you see the data there? What are these things? What are the information? What do we need? We want to see the Nigerian Stock Exchange. They usually publish the price of stock on a daily basis. So we want to copy this price of this stock on a particular day. This was March 10. That was Friday. Can you see? You see the website? So I copy this website and I come to my Power Query. It is asking me from which web. I put the name of the web page there and it will go through and ask me some simple questions that it is connecting. It will now bring out some things here. Remember, when we opened that page, it showed us different tables. We have this table, All Share Index. We have a chart. We have the top gainer, the bottom losers. We now have the listed companies and securities. Remember, can you see? Those are the things we have. So automatically, can you see what this Excel has come up with? It gave us one table like that, one meta table. It gave us this one, All Share Index. It gave us another one, the top gainers, the bottom losers. They now gave us this one, the volume price of shares. This is what we want. It is possible for you to still just want to check what you are looking at. You come to web view, you can navigate and look at it. But what we need is table, the data in the table format. Now, when you are bringing in something into Power Query, you can decide to load directly, or you do something you call transform. When you load, it means that you want it to take you back into Excel or to take this table, this information the way it is. When you pick the option load to give you options. If you want to convert this data to Power Pivot directly, or you want it to be in a particular a connection, or you want to see it as a pivot chart, or you want it to reflect as a table properly. So it gives you the option. But this load normally is a preformatter. You can go and change the setting. You know, anytime I click load, take me to table or take me to pivot or take me to whatsoever. Now, this transform allows you to look at the table in Power Query Engine and then be able to play around with it before you load. Before you load. Most of the time, the information you have is not clean. So you may decide to say, I want to go to transform data. And the system will absorb it like that. It will take it in, bring you to, this thing looks like Excel, but it's not Excel. This is another window under Excel. This is where they call the Power Query Editor. Now, before we go further, I'm taking you to the advanced. I will now come back and show you the simple part of it. Now, one thing about this table we look at is that when you look at it, it shows you something like 1 to 100 of 157 listings. That means if you click next, it will take you to the remaining 57. I hope I've not lost anybody.
No.
With you.
You are with me.
Yes.
If anybody is lost, please shout now. Please raise alarm now. It is still easy for me to go back. After I've spoken too much grammar and forced my saliva, I may we may be in a hurry, you know. Okay, now I was saying something that this is the remaining part of this table we are looking at. 101 to 157 listings. But if you look at the web page, it is a different name. It has / page is equal to 2. So I'll also copy that one and go and load it into my Power Query. Because I'm in the Power Query engine already, I won't go back and pick. They go through the menu we have in Excel. In Power Query, I'll just come here, new source, file, database, other sources. You can see web there. So I will say I want another information from the web. And I will put it there to go and bring that information for me. My table is table 3. I will say okay. And you'll be surprised at what will happen. You just bring it. So I have the 2 tables. Mind you, this information is coming from the internet. Can you appreciate the beauty of Microsoft Excel and data analytics now? You don't need to worry about some things. Just connect. And supposing that you have in Excel, you have your report of your stock investments that you have somewhere. Someone like me, I bought Wando some years back when Wando was 70 something naira. And can you imagine Wando is now 4 naira 42 kobo? How will I be able to benchmark my worth or my everyday variation? I don't need to be going back to that web page to be checking and comparing. I'll just create some connection like we did in Power Pivot, and the system will be automatic. You just open your page. You can even set it to auto refresh, and the system will be giving you the information. This is what you have. This is the current value as of today, and you will have your report. And that is what automatically is linked to some people's page. Maybe you have a stockbroking account, you have stuff, and they'll be telling you what your work is on a daily basis. Any day you log in, you just sit there and you be like, hey, you may not even ever think about it. This Oyibo people, it's not Oyibo people, which it is just having the knowledge, the information at our fingertips. Now, I want to do something here in Power Query. I told you I'm whetting your appetite. I'm trying to bamboozle you so we can be hungry for the knowledge. We have these 2. I'm not comfortable looking at the 2 data separately.
Hello, I have a question, please.
Yes, sir.
Is the example you just gave now concerning your investment in Wando and the way you look, you are able to monitor it on a daily basis, linking your portfolio with the internet so that you can have a regular update on it. How do you do that? Please, can you come again?
I like that question. I decided to whet your appetite, but we are trying to get more from me. I will get to it. Just pencil that question down. I'm going there. That's where I'm going. I actually want to use a case study, a practical case study, to drive home the learning of this topic. Now, on this page, you have different functionalities. Home, you have different things here. You have transform, add column, and view. You have different things you can do here. I pray I'll be able to cover as much as I can. But one of the things I will try to do here is I want to combine the two tables together as one. You know, when we got them from the internet, we got them separately. You get my point? So, but it doesn't make any sense for us to be looking at them separately. We can decide to combine them, and we do something here, append query. There's a difference between append and merge. We'll come to merge shortly afterwards. But append means the same data is a continuation of it. We have data 1 to 100. We have another one, 101 to 157. You want to combine them together. That is what we are trying to do here. Merge is a different thing entirely. But let me do the append queries here. It's either I append the query under 3.2 to merge with 3 points to table 3, or I create a fresh table. Let me create a fresh table, append as new. And we'll say the two tables, table 3, the second table, table 3.2. If I have more, I will just list them and to combine all of them together. So see what we're trying to do. Append. It has named it append. We'll say total listings. That is the name of our file. It's either I change the name here or I come under this place, I right click and say rename. If you look down, you can see 157 rows. That is what we have. Before that thing stopped at column N. Is it N? No. Those things starting with N, 100. It stopped there. Then 101 continue from here. But we now have everything together. This will take me back to this is the transformation page we said we wanted to go to before we load. So you now come here under file. Mind you, I'm not going to file. I'm going to close and load. It will ask me, how do I want to load? I want to close and load to. If you see anything ... it means the system will give you an option to make another decision, or it will allow you to go to another menu. If you go to close and load, automatically you just close and take you to the default setting of how this information should be given to Excel worksheets. But I want close and load to, and that will allow me to show you some other options. I mentioned them in passing that time. Is either the answer, what the information you have here goes out as a table, or it goes out as a pivot table report. It will just give you that template for pivot table, and you now pick the information the way you want it. You combine, you select the data, the summary if you want it. Then you can have it as pivot chart directly, or you can create connection. This create connection, I will come back to it. It's also a very interesting topic. The reason is this: you have your data somewhere, you have packaged it, you have designed it. You now want to use it as a data, as in a pivot, power pivot table. But because that data is heavy, if you load it onto your system may be slow, or it will be heavy on the system. So you only create a connection, and that will just be stored somewhere in the system's memory, or it will create a connection. So when you need it, the system will go and pick it. The system will not load it completely, won't bring it up. Now, let us go to pivot, load as table. And it will generate our information from the web page of Nigeria Stock Exchange. 157 items. Can we see? Are we good?
So I'm sorry, please, a question. So if there are changes on the website, is it going to automatically affect this, as in your here or your Power Query?
This report is a daily report. If there are changes,
that same website,
the system, all you have to do If you want to open this file on every each time you want to open it, just come here, click refresh, and it will re-update all the information. It is possible for you to go to Power Query and set the system on auto refresh every day.
Okay.
You can set it up. The system will be refreshing every day and connecting. Already, it has extracted this information from the website. It has loaded it for you. This is what you have. But if you want it to be refreshing, or you can set it to every day. If there are sometimes you can set it to be maybe intraday every hour, you know, and you always have your information live and direct. That is just one of the secrets of back engine. You know, there's something called back end development in web development, or these online these IT guys back end. Most of the people who do websites, they don't know this thing. They will tell you that they need a back-end developer to give them the data structure, to help them design the architecture and all those things. That is where something they call full stack comes in. Full stack developer may not know everything about backend. He may not know everything about front end, but he has an idea. He can do some combination, some permutation. But when it gets to the bigger end, this is just the elementary part of data analysis. Because if you go to Python, most of the things we'll be talking about will be statistical, we'll be talking about regression, we'll be talking about prediction, and prediction not be small thing. You can imagine what it takes Google to be able to predict how long it will take you to go from your house to your office. It will map every meter of the path from your house to your office, and even alternative paths to be able to arrive at this is the best route for you to take. This is so time, and per time it will be updating it. If something changes, it will change it. It will say rerouting, or will tell you that you are facing a congestion at so point in time, or it will just say that when you left home, the time to your office was 30 minutes. Along the line, it's increased to 35 minutes, 45 minutes. What's happening? It is because of that refresh that is happening. Are we getting it now?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, this is this. I was saying something that you have your stock data somewhere. Let us create my stocks. My stocks, my holdings, Abby. Stocks, dates of purchase, price, current price. You understand? Date of purchase. So those of you who have stock, yeah, come and be declaring your assets. I told you earlier that I have one, do Abi?
Yes, you only told us one.
Each time I remember that one, though, I'm not happy. We are going to copy it exactly the way it is, so that we won't have the error I mentioned when we are doing data validation. It's possible for me to type one though mistakenly one way, or put space somewhere, and the system will not recognize it. I got this one though 2004. I think it was June or something. June, I don't know, 15. Let me just 2004. I bought it 70 naira. I'm not happy hearing about this thing about this one of a thing. So who else? GT Bank.
Enjoy the dividend now, sir.
The dividend is nothing to write home about, my friend. It's nothing to write home about. Quantity. How many did I buy? I bought it at, I think I bought 100 units at that time. I used to buy 100 units, it was a bit more at that level. Okay, which other one? GT Bank, Abby?
We don't know which one you bought next time.
I told you people to come and be declaring your assets. You're asking me.
We're expecting you to take the lead, sir.
You said what?
You should take the lead. We are following you.
We may not have enough information if you don't support me, oh, my brother. So I bought this one, let's say August 2009. No, GTD they are listing. I can't remember when exactly. Let me just use some arbitrary figures. That time GT was around 15 naira or 20 naira. And I bought 1,000 units. So who else? Should we stop here?
MTN.
Oh, my friend, you also bought it. MTN. MTN. Can you see? This is MTN. If I had written MTN, we'll be on our own. MTN. That was last year, Abby. When last year?
December
December what?
15th.
Okay, 15, 2022. How many units?
500.
And how much?
20.
How much did you buy it?
169. No, 200. Not that one. 169 was early. 200. 200.
Okay, 200. Good. I think we can stop here. This is quantity, mind you. Quantity does not have don't lose anything, anything. It is purchase price that usually have this thing. So we have this data. We can convert it into table. Control T. And we name it share holdings. Shareholdings. Abby. So if we want to add to it, it simply come under it and the system will automatically recognize that we are adding to. Let us get one more purchase. Okay, let me pick this last one. Last one. Last one. Nestle. Okay, Nestle. Okay. Nestle is how much did you buy it? When did you buy it? How much quantity?
100 units.
100 units. When?
November 22. 2022.
November 22, 2022. How much?
1,000 naira.
1,000 naira. Good. In fact, I may not need this particular row. Let me leave this one. So now we have this thing here. We can go to our, how do we go back to our Power Query? How do we call it up? From here, we already have some things here. Is either you come and right click on what you have here on your right hand side here. You can just come here, right click. What did I pick? Right click and say edit. If you click on edit, it will take you back to the Power Query engine. Or you come to data and you do something like existing connections. No, it's existing connection. You can come back and say, okay, you want to get data again. The data we have that we want to get is this new one. So look at it from Excel. What do I want? It is this thing I've selected. No, not from Excel. It should be from table or range because I'm already on the page. I don't need to go and ask for Excel because if I say for Excel, it will go and pick from another Excel for me. Oh, good. Are we together? Can we see some things in this page? We are going to go into the introductory part of the functionalities. We have this one. This header, there is a way Power Query works so that it will give you the format or the type of data you have. So the system will recognize it, will configure it accordingly. What do we have here? We have the type of data. Already the system is intelligent enough to adjust the setting and to predict what type of data you have there. But at times you may need to adjust it accordingly. This ABC is text format. Can you see? It already recognizes it as text format. Let us leave it as such. This one we have here, we only need date, we don't need time. So we don't need date and time. We only need what? Dates. That is part of, and it's asking me a question. Do I want to replace the current formatting or I want it to add a new step? Let me explain something before I go to that. In Power Query is such that it allows you to import. We've seen how it imports. It allows you to clean. It allows you to transform. And when it is doing it, it has a way of recording the process, the steps it is taking per time. So if it wants to refresh, it will just rerun that step and to arrive at the updated results. Or if you want to apply that information, that formatting to another set of data, you can copy. It's like a code. When you go to the backend, you can copy the code, go to another page, replicate it, and then bring in the data, and you see the system will run that code on it. What it has done, the place it stores that information is what we call applied steps. When we brought in this data, it did something. It looked at the source. The source is Excel current workbook. Name is equal to shareholdings. Then it brought in the contents. Are we together?
Yes, we're together.
Then if you look at the header, look at the format. The system used some arbitrary format, just the default format. But Power Query does some things intelligently. It applied the new step automatically and changed some of those data. It realized that this one looks like number. It's not supposed to be seen as what do you call it? As what format is this one? As alphanumeric. So it automatically changed those things. This one is not supposed to see that as alphanumeric. This is not supposed to. This one's supposed to be text. This one is supposed to look like dates. This one is supposed to be amount, a currency. This is supposed to be in whole numbers. So it applied the change. Can you see what it did? Automatically, you see table.transform column, and it changed each one. All those things you are doing, they are code. If you want to be a coder, you can decide to type all these steps instead for you to be clicking and doing those things. But the way Excel engine is designed is so that you can play around and life will be easy. By the time you engage ChatGPT in this thing, it will be a little bit much more easier. I don't know if you have heard about ChatGPT and if you have been using it for some things. Some people have been using it in Excel, they've been using it in coding, and it is making life very easy. So, can you see what it has done? It did this for us, but there are some things it didn't do correctly. That is why we need to review it ourselves. So this one is talking about changing this one. We don't need the date and time, we only need the dates. And that's why it's asking me the question, do I want it to add a new step, or I want to just format, see it as if it's all the steps it did, the correction it did, or the prediction it did, if it is correct. I can choose anything. I can say, make it a new step. And you can see it's made it change type 1. What this thing does is, if it has to do the same process across different columns, it batches it together and give it one name as applied step. But you want to separate the steps, you can choose the option I've selected. Now, purchase price, I don't want it to be whole number. I want it to be in the form of currency. Can you see? And quantity, I want it to be in whole numbers. That is given. Now, we have our, I now want to do something. In SQL, they call it join, but in Power Query, they call it merge. I want to go and look for Oando, GTCO, MTN, Nestle, and look for the current price and put the current price in front of this data I have here. So I will do something they call a merge. Remember what we did before was append, when we combine two similar data sets and combine them as one. There's a difference between merge and append. Append is when you have the data attaching to one below, you attach it to the one that is already above. Now, merge is that you have data, you now want to have some extra columns attached to it, especially related column. This thing we are doing, another similar formula you can use to do it is maybe VLOOKUP. I want to believe some of us understand VLOOKUP. So I'm going to use merge queries now. And what am I going to do? Should I merge it with this one, or should I merge the query as a new data? I think I can, I just want to update what I have there. I don't need to create a fresh something and see what it's going to ask me. It is going to ask me this question. Select the table and matching columns to create a merge table. I want it to get that information from the total listing. Now, in joining or merging, there's something they call left outer, right outer, left inner, or right inner, or inner, and those things like that. What we need here is, and one good thing about, can you see? Excel was talking about merge before, but now it's using the terminology join. Remember, I told you that join is what you should prepare your mind for, because you need to establish relationship between data. And somehow you can see that this thing is looking like what we did in Power Pivot last week. When you have different data, you want to connect them, bring information from A to B and use which one and get what you want and leave the rest. So it is now asking us left outer, all information on the first table, then matching the corresponding information from the second table. This is what we want. If you want all the information from the second table matching from the first, it may not work for us because we only need information for, we have only information for 4 stocks. How can you make 4 stocks to a whole 157? So it should be the other way round. I hope I've not lost anybody. Can I continue? Now, for now. Now, which data am I trying to connect? Use as the connection that have similar, they have where that we can use, they have similar relations or similar identities. The stock here and the tickler here. It's asking me, ignore privacy levels. I don't need privacy. This thing used to happen when I'm doing some work in my office. It will come over and over and over. You're asking me questions. Can you see? It says selection matches 4 of 4 rows from the first table. 4 from the first table with 4 from the second table. Those are the only things we need. Okay? Can we see? We're almost there. It gave me all the corresponding information from the right-hand side. Look at this. Can you see Wando? It will give me the current price, the name of Wando. Look, can you see below? The volume of Wando that was traded that day, the current price of Wando, the change from that day and the previous day. It is giving me that information. But do I need everything? If I look at GTCO, okay, the current price of GTCO is 26 Naira. Okay, the change, the price crashed slightly. Let me see MTN. The current price of MTN is this. Okay, the volume of trade. Okay, the price did not change. Okay, good. Now, if you see this double-headed arrow option we have here, you click on it, it will now ask you, what do you want? You need all the information? No. So I don't need everything. I only need the current price. Okay, now, all the rest, you can go. Okay, maybe I would like to have the name. I didn't have the full name on my stock, on my report before. I had it. I don't think I need the volume. Should I have this? No. Then you now ask the question, use original column name as prefix. No, I don't need that. If it will do that, on this header column, it will put the name of the file is getting the information from. I don't need all those things. So what I need is just name and price. Attach it. Can you see my new report? Price, I don't want it to be decimal. I want it to be currency. Can you see? Now, I cannot do one kind of modification, transformation, mathematical calculation. I'll just say, under transform, you have transform, you have add column, you have view. I want to add an extra column. And you can see some calculation here, mathematical stuff. So what column do I want it to add? Custom invoke function. I want it to find difference. Standard, I want it to subtract. To tell me the difference between the current price and the new price. So automatically, because I'm under add column, I'll just click on subtract and see what to do for me. I'll click on this, click on the purchase price, no? Click on this, control, purchase price, and then come here, I see subtract. Did you see anything? Just a click, and it gave me the information. So, my friend, you can decide to go back and close and load your data and see. Oh, I didn't do something. This subtraction, I should have written it as gain or change in price. Isn't it? I can simply go back and edit.
We understand that.
You understand that one, Abi?
Yes.
Okay. Gain or lose. I can simply come back here and just say gain. All you have to do is just simply double click and write gain or loss. Close and note. Good. I think we are getting there. So, any question? Can somebody replicate this thing the way I've done it? Can somebody replicate?
I tried doing it using a PDF. If you're trying to use a PDF, if it's not, how is it possible for it not to pick an exhibit and recognize it in Power Query? Is it if it's a picture or something? I don't really know, but if you have PDF
it
file.
will most likely work with data sets. If you have a table containing data, or if you have some things arranged on your PDF, it will import it into your PDF page.
Okay.
It will import it into your Excel.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I did that recently, and I'm sure of what I'm talking about. So that takes care of this. I now want to also do some other things on this Power Query.
So sorry, which one is faster? Doing a VLOOKUP, because a simple VLOOKUP will just align these numbers as well.
A simple VLOOKUP will just give you this data. When you are handling big data, when you are handling multiple data, you might just want to add as connection. You don't want to see the data at all. You might just want to add as connection. You won't be able to do that one on Pivot Table. Let me give you a data on what I sent to you. Large data. New. I said something to us. There's one kind of data there. If you load that data to your system, I know you will feel from Excel workbook. Yes, I saved it on my desktop. I call it large data set in Power Query. This is it. It is one of the things I sent to you. Can you see? This is the data. And one thing about data here is that it will preview, I think, the first 200 rows. That is one thing. It will say the data in the preview has been truncated due to size limits. Excel will not load the entire data set. That data is about 200,000 rows. This thing I'm uploading now. But Excel will not upload your entire data set into your system. Otherwise, it will make your system slow. It will be unnecessary. In fact, when you are working on SQL or Python, you don't see the data itself. You are just writing code. You are just doing the manipulation. You can just view maybe the top row, the top 5 or something like that. So that is what Excel is also trying to invite. So you will be able to see some of it, but it won't crash your system. It won't task your memory so much. That's it. So how this thing we did, well, Excel will do it for you when you are handling large data, or when you want to combine different data sets. You appreciate it. I don't know if I've said anything. Oh, can you see what I did now? I'm bringing in that large data set into our system. I'm bringing it in. And this is it. It will only show you the first 999 rows. So what is the issue with this data? What do we want to fish out from this data? This is a practical data we want to work with.
Empty cells.
Can we see how I brought this data in? Can we see how I brought it in?
Yes, we did.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. If anybody is having any challenge bringing in data, please let me know. No, we want to do something about this thing. How do we go about it? I will start from use this thing to explain some of these functionalities, what we have on the header. If you look at the applied steps, we can see we have the source, the navigation. This was the navigation. Okay, good. this data was like this originally. There's something they call metadata. The system brought in everything. Automatically, Excel was able to get the correct one. It brought it in. Then after then, can you see there is the column header is empty. Every other thing is on the next row. The system did something. It called it promoted headers. Instead for it to do it for us, I would like us to do it ourselves. Then after it did the promoted header, can you see the header? All of them have the same data type recognition. The system changed data type according to what we have here. Now, in Power Query, you don't have Control-Z. You can't do that. But all these things that the Excel did, you can delete them and to take you back to the initial data record that you have. For example, if you look at this information, we have the first column on the next line. So what should we do? We can promote it. We can take it up. Or at times, we want on top to come down. We call it promote header. And that is what I'm going to do for us here. Let's promote header. Let's promote header. So that exactly, can you see? It's saying use first row as header. You get the point? Use first row as header. The reverse is use headers as first row. That means it will switch it the other way around. So now I'm saying use, what did I say? I chose the wrong thing. Use first row as headers. Now use first row as header again. This is what I want. Can we get it now? Then I also want to do something under this column B. Okay, we need to change, match the data type. The system automatically change data type for us. Well, we can take a look at it and see if the data type is correct, if it's okay, if it is the way we want it. The package type, quantity, unit price. This unit price should be currency. Remember? Tax rate. I think this should be percentage, but let me still leave it that way. Total chiller items, stock color ID, description, stock ID, invoice, customer transaction ID. Good. Now this one, they put 3 different information in the same cell when they are updating the system. So we can separate it. There's something we call splits. You can see split column here. We can play around with different options on that split column. But here, what we use to split it, we want to use a delimiter. And that delimiter is, it's not space, it is that dash. Can we see? Mind you, it is not just ordinary dash. One thing I would like us to know, it is space dash space. Do we agree with me, or should we test the 2 options?
No, we agree, it's fine.
I agree.
It's fine.
We agree. So it has split. So once it splits like that, have this one as invoice number. This one is customer ID, and this one is transaction ID. Good. on the file I sent to you, this transaction ID doesn't make much sense to us. The customer ID, we don't know. On the file I sent to you, I actually included another CSV file. So I would like to go and bring down, because it is supposed to work with this thing. We are supposed to integrate it together and use it to extract some information. So you can go to your file, text or CSV. There are different ways people store data in CSV, text format, DAT format, because it's very light, it's very easy to compact, it's not easy for anybody to hijack or put a malware, or what do they call it, a virus for it to attack. So I'm putting customer data, I'm bringing customer data in. It is CSV format. CSV means comma separated values. And the system has used all the points where there are commas. Before I come and show you, let us take a look at that CSV data file and see what it looks like. This is how it looks like. This is how data people, this is how they keep their thing. And somebody who doesn't understand will just be like, this is nonsense. Why are these people keeping in this format? You know? So, but this is what it looks like. And this is the large data set we are talking about. Look at this thing, it is 15 kilobytes. It was experimented that if you open this 15 megabyte data and you do VLOOKUP with it, with this CSV data, and you do VLOOKUP with it, eventually you will end up with something close to about 40 megabytes. But if you go the route of Power Query, you won't get beyond 20 megabytes. I just have my comments. I've said it, you know, a number of times. So I leave it at that. So I bring this one in, this data, customer data. We have customer name, we have a category of the name of their business, we have phone number, fax, this. But what do we need from this? Remember, we have something customer ID. Can you remember?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what can we do now? We can decide I want to check the customer with the highest sales, or our most valuable customer, or the highest what is selling more. We can do all those pivoting we did last time. We can play around with all these things based on this information we have now. I think this is more of this thing we are doing today is more of connecting data. There is more we can do on Power Query, transformation especially, but today is someone dedicated to data connection unconsciously. Okay, all right. So we can see that this customer ID, we can use it to connect it, and we have all the information about our customers. So can somebody take the lead, guide me on what to do, how to go about it? We want to bring in the category, of bring in the category of sales, the customer name. We don't need all this other information. And all this other information, if you don't need them, you might as well delete them. When you delete data like this on Power Query, it does not affect your original file. It will only affect the final output, and it will help you in reducing the size. That is why one benefit of Power Query, or if you have any issue, all you have to do is simply come back on this apply steps, retrace your step where you remove something, cancel it, and the system will put it back in place. You get? Okay, delivery method. I don't need it. City name. I don't think I need it. What again do I need? I think I only need even the contact person. I don't need him. I only need this customer name and the category. In fact, the category. So I will use the category to map my data here and see which one is selling more. What should I do? How should I plan? Then I can play around with this year, month, day. In fact, I think I will also work on that one with you because I'm more interested in the transformation. Then the unit price, we can simply say quantity times unit price to let us know the sale value. Remember what you did the other time? So I can simply say unit price times quantity. What would that give us? Sale value. So let me do my displays. It's not highlighted. Okay, can you see? All I have to do, I'll just click on multiply and it should give me multiplication. Not multiplication. I want sales. You see it now. I can decide to drag this thing close to where I want it. All this chiller, all this stock color, I may not need it. I so desire not to put them. Now, we want to do what? We want to bring customer ID, customer category, and put it inside this data, or we take information from here to that side. Are we getting it? Which one should we do?
Yes.
Which one should we do?
From here
You
to
can take information from the customer master to the data.
From customer master to this data. Okay, good. That is one. Then I would also like to do something. Let me duplicate this data and let us quickly play on something. There's something we do on pivots. We can do something similar here. You have this your customer ID. You can decide that you want to consolidate all the sales for this customer ID. So you can know the value of this customer to you. What do we do? There's something called group by. You know what pivot actually does? It's like grouping, summarizing. So you ask this thing to summarize customer ID, start the column to group by and desired output. I want it to give me customer ID, operation, sum of the sales. Are you getting it? Is it that sum of or what again can we use? Okay, you can use count. Count will tell you the quantity, the number of transactions they did. Then sum will give you you know, so as I say total sales, and you have the summary. Instead of 200,000 row of data that we have, and let's see something. What? Can you see? So I'm taking my people around in circles. I don't mind me. We are going somewhere. The group by is already in place. Then we go and bring the information from Now we have almost the same data as our customer data. Remember the last time, let me change the name of this thing. Group customer, yeah. So before, should we still do what you asked us to do, or we should consider this group customer and customer master, or should we go back to this one and still use this one? What do you think? Are we together? Are we together? Are we together? Is Excel still interesting? Let's keep going.
Yes, because the group somehow limited what we can do in terms of extracting information from the data to the group to that group.
Are you sure? Okay, if that's the case, let us do whatever we want to do here. If that's the case, let us do what we have to do.
No, sir, can you tell us what can be, how we can manipulate information from data to that group stuff?
Okay, you can do something
because they don't
like,
have the same length again.
okay, let me show you something we can do. We can do this, merge queries. We can merge queries. This is group customer data, and this is the original data. We can pick what they have in common: customer ID, customer ID. Abi, we can say we want to see all the words, all the should I say we want to see all the transaction ID? No. That one work. All the stock ID item. You know, the stock ID and description, they are together. In fact, we can separate them. We can pick this one out and put it on it. We can remove the description so it will go and stand alone on its own table and leave only stock ID. That will simplify, make our file lighter. That is one of the things they call normalization. It will make our data a bit tidier. So I can decide to add stock ID and description to what we want to do. And then you have can you see what we are talking about? This data is heavy. I click on one, customer ID H32. I want to see the connecting information. You will see what it will give me. The information will be another table on its own. Can you see? All the console, the list of all the sales that make up this amount is here. Do you get the point? Just the way you manipulate your pivot table, the list of all the things that make up these sales, total sales, to give us what it gave us, you can have it here. Now, if you wanted to add all this information to reconstitute it, you can bring it back. This is the second time we are talking about merging table and doing things like that. The first time we did it, was only one line item it gave you. But this time around, you can see that it can bring out all the information. You have one data, it's just one line. You can go and connect to another data and bring out the consolidation of all the information together for us. So we can do this thing back and get back to where we started from. Do you get a point? See something now. I will do something. Do I need everything? No. Do I need invoice line ID? No. Customer, transaction ID, okay, yes. Stock ID, okay. Yeah, date. Okay, yes, add that one to it. Okay, should you give me quantity? Maybe. Yeah, let's go on from there. Remember, on the first line, we have 832. You see how it will break everything and to show you the breakdown. Can you see how many times 832 showed on that first row? I didn't pick sales. I was supposed to pick sales so I can see the individual sales. Remember, the total sales, it still gave me the total sum. So instead for me to give up, I can just come press this thing that look like gear and adjust it. So give me sales as part of the information.
How about unit price? Unit price, no need for that.
Okay, you think we should put price?
Unit price. I'm just asking if there's a need for that.
Okay, we not put it. Well, we may not, we may. I think, okay, quantity is there. Okay, we didn't put price. Okay. Sales. What do we have here now? We have 2,300 and 5,600. Is that what we are supposed to have? That does not make up this total sales. So if we sum up 832 only, we want to extract 832. And we see all the things that will make up 832. This data is heavy. Can you see all the items that make up this 832? Can you see the number of items, transactions under this one alone? And that is what makes up the 296,100. So for the sales, the price, if you so wish, you can bring the price into it. You can do as you wish. But as we were doing before, I don't know if it gets to this thing clear what I'm doing. It's like I'm trying to condense. This class is more than just 1 hour, 2 hour class. Power Pivot, I've done a course of Power Pivot that is about, is it 12 hours by Nina Garani. So it's not just something I can compact. I'm just trying to see how I could juggle, except maybe if the management of Data Club, Data Analytic Club can say we will continue next week, maybe we'll just, if we have to stop next week, we can do away with data dashboarding. But if you want to really go granular into this Power Query, you can take time to look at all the stuffs, the menu items, and then be able to create what we really need to get out of it. I don't know what you feel like. My people, what do you suggest or says down? Now, as we are talking about, I said I will do something about year, month, and day. Let me quickly touch that on before we call it a day. Year, month, and day. This is year, this is month, this is day. This does not give me it does not spell it out as if it is a particular calendar day for me. Do you understand my point? So I can combine this thing for it to give me a date. How do I go about that? I can do something they call add column and now merge columns. Is it merge? Is it merge I'm supposed to do? Is it merge or combine? Okay, yes. custom column? You said? So we will now have is equal to day, comma, month, comma, year. Does it make any sense? And there's even another aspect under Power Query they call date function. There's a way you break your date down, you get quarter, you can break it down into quarterly reports, you can break it down into weekly, you can break it down into, see what date is giving me. Who send you? Dates is what I want. Did I get it right? I'm wondering if I got this thing right. No. Let me go back to that place where I put this function. I think I need to put dates. I'm mixing something up. Should I use concatenate? So should I leave it as T's? You're seeing it as a formula. That's why it is like that. I shouldn't use minus. I should use concatenate. And now our data is large. It is taking time to refresh. Can you see what I told you? It's giving me that problem. I should use concatenate. There's something they call concatenate. Hey, village people like my guy used to say.
I think the enemies are at work.
Don't mind them. They don't plenty rich. I read somewhere in the Bible that says they should go and make photocopies and become plenty. That those who are with us are more than those that are with them, you know.
There's photocopy in the Bible.
If you don't, the Bible is not logos now, it is red, man. It depends on what you see there. Okay, all right. These dates, there is a way we are able to combine the dates, so it will be just one singular stuff. Then this will now be able to do date operations on this particular date stuff. I think I will check what formula I'm supposed to use for that. I'm not getting it right, but I think we should be able to take this thing. Okay, we didn't bring in the customer data from here to this place. Do we want to do that now so we can, before we call it a day? Who can lead us to how to transform it, or how to combine information or extract information from customer data and bring it to this place? Somebody wants to help? What should we do? Where should I start from?
Append. Oh, sorry, merge.
Merge, correct. Merge. Should I merge it as new, or I should merge it in situ?
As new,
Oh,
so we'll have the old data still there.
okay, good. Sorry, before I go on, I missed something here. This filter, I need to remove it. Otherwise, we have eliminated all the other customer IDs. You get? All right. So when you do something, when you do it in Excel, just do it there. Just do it for doing sake. In Power Query, it's as if you are writing a code. Whatever you do is what you will see when you load it back to Excel. So make query as new, as recommended by the management of Data Analytics Club. Which one are we picking to? Which one are we to pick?
Customer master.
Customer master. And what are the IDs? We're looking at this ID and this ID.
Customer ID.
So which option are we selecting? Are we using the left outer, or we should be looking at something different?
Left outer.
Why?
We are matching from all the data in the customer master to what we have in data. Something like that.
Thank you very much. Are you the only one who is following me? Nobody else person is talking.
Yeah.
People are falling by the wayside too.
If people don't fall, then that means I'm just teaching you what you already know. But the only thing is
sure notes.
Even the network is falling aside.
We'll go and review.
From my side, the network is messing up from my side.
No, not from your side.
Oh, sorry for that. Okay, so we have done this merge now. When we merge like this, should we rename it? What should we rename it as? What should we rename it as? Detailed data. Let me just use that arbitrary stuff.
Updated.
I should name it updated data. You know, I updated it from here. I can also come back here and put it here. Updated data. This data is becoming heavy. So this is one of the reasons I recommended that when we are doing this kind of work, you need a very strong laptop. Look at the information we have here. Let us just pick an example and see. And this is where data normalization is from. So I think I would like us to do a review, or personally go and check something they call that thing I talked about, proper data sets, and also data normalization. Did you get it? Data normalization. Please take time to look at that. And when we come again, we'll be able to pick up from there. So are we selecting all columns? No, we don't need ID again. We need the customer name and we need the customer category name. You understand? So once we explore that thing, we can tell our data to go to, we can tell our system. Can you see what it has given us? It has attached that information from wherever it was coming from and brought it here. So we can now go from here and say close and load. What did I click on? I can say close and load to pivot table reports or only create connection. Are we together? Pivot table report or only create connection, because that is what I want to use. If I just want to use it in conjunction with another thing, I can say only create connection, but I can just say create pivot table reports on a new worksheet and see what it will give me. It will bring out that pivot table stuff and I will just use it directly without seeing the data, all the data that we have. So Excel will be, I'm doing this for us to appreciate Power Query, not just ordinary Power, not just using VLOOKUP and some other manual manipulation. You can have as much data as you want. But as we are playing around this thing, this is where data normalization now comes in. And it will require us to be able to connect different data, break it down into smaller, simpler units, and call them whenever required to feed into our final analysis and making it easy for us to arrive at a conclusion, insight, or make recommendation for whoever we are providing it. Look at this data, it's still refreshing, it's still loading data. So in this kind of situation, this data that is loading, I could have changed it and said, no, I don't want it to load. I want it to be connection only. So we won't be going through all this rigor, all this stress we are going through now. Do you get my point? We have 228,265 rows. We don't need it. Customer master is 663 rows. Okay, we can play around with that one. Group customer is also going the way of 220 because remember that we added a table that expanded the quantity, the total number of rows eventually. So we may not need it to load it onto this thing like this. All this time we are wasting will not be needed. Then the updated data too, we don't need to, but it's a load. We could have done it simple as connection as well. Or that might be the only thing we will require the system to load. Can you see what we're talking about? It gave us pivot table directly. And from here, we can play with whatever we want. It has even done the, I don't know, it has done the mapping that we usually went to do on pivot, Power Pivot last time. It has done it for us. So look at what I'm going to pick out now. I don't need customer ID. I only need the customer name. Can you see? I can now say year, put the year here. And what am I looking at? Sales. Are we getting anywhere? Then we can now play with our, for those of us who missed last week's pivot table discussion, I hope we are still together. Can you see something? Are we okay? So if we want to look at it based on, we can decide that we don't need this one. Build lists. I can say we don't need customer name. We only want to see at the category. Which category is bringing us the biggest sales? Which category?
Novelty.
Novelty. Can sort from largest to smallest. And which category and which year is the best year for our sales?
2019.
2019. You can see that our growth was going up until COVID struck, bam, and everything scattered. Can we make any inference out of it? So you remember we also have city. Maybe if we had included that city data, we could have also brought it into here. I'm going to say, okay, which country, which city, which particular. Now that we have this one, we can break it down and say which particular customer is giving us highest sales. Instead of category, let us look for customer name. Can you see what happened on my screen? I picked the customer name from another table. Do you understand? I picked the customer name. I was using this table before, only this table for everything I was doing, this updated data. But deliberately, I went to another table. I picked this customer name from there, and it automatically auto-detected it and gave me the everything. Though it's not asking me, relationship between tables may be there. Auto-detect. Well, yes. Auto-detect. You already detected it already. You don't need to ask me again. You did the auto-detect and gave me the information. So I can now say it gave me the report according to order of the alphabetical order for customer name. I want to know the highest, the top highest store. That's what I need. Top largest sales person. C. Those are my sales people. Tailspin toys. Tailspin toys in different places. Now, tailspin toys, I may need to separate. They are both tailspin, but they are in different places. I may need to separate the tailspin from and group tailspin together. Are we getting that one? Where you have more than one customer because of their branches, if you want to consolidate, how do we go about it? Can I leave that one for us so I won't take our time? Can somebody help me do that one before next week? Or maybe if you have any challenge, can you call me? Look at what we have here. Wing tip, wing tip, wing tip. Can somebody have a way? Can you remember how we did split column? Can you remember? Hello. Hello. Am I still?
No, sir.
Can we remember how we did split column and we're able to remove the city or the branch for this particular customer? Can we do that and then bring it back to pivot and let us see what we can do? Is that a deal?
No, sir.
Check no. Okay. At this junction, is there any area you want me to shed more light on? I don't want to open any other topic on this.
It's just to remove to maybe where you are able to take out those cities.
Yes,
I can't remember it what you did last week. Maybe I missed that.
How do you go about it to remove those cities? How do we go about it? We can go back to our data. We can come back to our data, come back to queries and connections. Okay, I wanted to do something here. I wanted to show us something. We can change this thing. Instead for it to be loading, you can ask it to create only connection. This group customer too, we can ask it to create connection. So it won't be taking our time unnecessarily or be loading unnecessarily. Can you see it's already done? Just because I say create connection, unlike before. So this one too, I will also right click and say load to connection. Don't bring it up or anything. Don't want to see it anywhere. Now, customer data is that thing that gave us that issue. So we can just right click on it and go and find the way of separating those things inside brackets from those ones that are not inside brackets. Are we together? So
Yes, sir.
let us finish this video. Okay, do that. Why is this one taking time? So should not take my time now. Can you say it's loading faster than the other time when it was not load as connection? Okay, good. So now what I want to do is edit this particular one, customer data. Come to this people's name and remove anything inside brackets. Take it away. How do we go about it? How do we go about it? Can you see something?
Yes, sir. Transform extract.
Okay. And what again?
And then text before the limiter.
Delimiter.
Okay. So what is our delimiter we are using? Are we good? And then I just say close and load. I come back here. What is happening? Hi. Hey, my people, I think it's a convenient place.
Just close, please.
I think it's a convenient place to stop. Do you know what happened? Do you know what happened? Do you have an idea of what happened?
No.
Okay. What happened is that each parameter is now replicated. Normally, what we have here, tailspin, and the name of that branch is what is customer ID was supposed to refer to. Tailspin and the name ID2 and tailspin is the name of what. So somehow, because we're now having tailspin all over, it now got confused. It is supposed to be a unique character. Don't worry, we'll take it up from there next time. We'll take it up from there next time. So
Thank you, boss.
I will just delete what I did. Can you see that delete button? It will reverse what you did and will be good. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
So if you have any question, you may be free to contact me any day. I will try and create time, please. If you don't understand this thing, then we have wasted our 2 hours. Thank you very much, everybody, for your patience. And I'm waiting for your questions. Thank you.
All right.
Have a great week.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye, everyone.